And I turn now, we heard from the DeSantis side, we will turn quite literally now to Will Hurd. He's a campaign surrogate for Nikki Haley. He's a former congressman from Texas. You may remember he was also a candidate for president. I remember, Congressman. It's good to have you. So
thank you. Good to see you
guys talked about some of last night's losses for Republicans in this campaign memo that came out. I will say you guys broadly, because you're an endorser of the campaign, but not working for the campaign. And you just heard from James a little bit talking about the idea of down ballot success. To what degree do you look at the elections we saw last night and say Donald Trump's responsible for this too?
Absolutely, Donald Trump's responsible for the problems that we saw last night. He was responsible for the problems in 2022 when everybody thought and polling had predicted a red wave, and we saw a red trickle. He was responsible for losing the House and the Senate in 2018. And so the message from last night is we need a new generational leader who's actually going to help down ballot candidates. And I think that person is Nikki Haley. She's the one person that has consistently been on the rise. The most recent polling that I've seen shows her solidly second place in Iowa and New Hampshire and South Carolina. And she is someone that is having a lot of momentum, and that momentum has continued to build rather than starting at the top and falling like a ton of bricks.
Now, you could argue that momentum that she's generated has been picking off sort of points here and there from a lot of these other candidates who aren't named Donald Trump. Sort of same question for you that I had for James of the DeSantis campaign is, at what point do you have to start going through the front runner to make this a real race and not just be the try-hard second-place candidate who did the best they could but didn't take off any shine from the leader?
Well, look, I think Ambassador Haley has been very clear when it comes to Donald Trump. She agrees with him on some things, disagrees with him on others. She disagrees with him on some of the policies on China. You know, the Chinese, the leader of the Chinese government is an authoritarian figure, not someone you should cozy up to. She disagrees with the president on Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin is a thug, and we should treat him that way. She disagrees with the president, with former president, excuse me, when it comes to Israel and the support to Israel. So I think Ambassador Haley has been very clear. And what we need right now is someone who has that moral clarity, who understands who our friends are, who our adversaries are, and make sure that we do things appropriately. And by the way, that we're better together, right? She's not an isolationist. I think one of the things you're going to see tonight on this debate stage is you're going to see many other candidates up there going to talk about their isolationist tendencies. The only way we ensure that America has this role that we currently hold is by doing it and building a posse and having friends, and that's something Ambassador Haley knows intimately. And one of the reasons, and it's one of the reasons that you're starting to see, and she has been building this momentum through this campaign.
I want to ask you also about the abortion issue too, because I do think it's going to be salient, not just tonight, but continuing. I mean, voters keep telling us this is a thing that they really care about. I think in the first debate, she drew a lot of attention because her position was basically, look, I'm not going to sign. You can talk about theoretical questions about what I'll sign or not. Congress is not going to send me a 15-week ban. You just heard from the DeSantis campaign, now sort of looking at it in a similar way, right? Like, what Congress is going to send us is a 15-week ban. But if states are doing this now, basically saying, we don't want your ban, we want to enshrine this in the Constitution, how much of a problem is that for a anti-abortion candidate, a Republican candidate, to basically say, yeah, we're going to give it to the states, and the states don't agree with us? The voters don't agree with us.
Well, look, I think this is going to continue to be an issue. I think abortion is going to be an issue in 2024. That's why we need a leader like Ambassador Haley, because in that first debate, she talked about how she's very clear that she's been 100% pro-life her entire political career, but she also recognizes there are areas where there's ability to work together. Most people in this country are not supportive of a late-term abortion. Most people are supportive of increasing access to kids being put in foster and being adopted. This is an important issue for her because her husband was adopted. She recognizes that we can protect babies and protect mothers at the same time. And I think she's outlined that. I think a lot of people in that first debate saw that perspective. You saw her numbers with independent women increase because of that. And I think she's the kind of leader that is going to help the Republican Party, not just in one election, but in the next couple of cycles, to ensure that we have conservative thought and conservative leadership in the White House.
In the little bit of time we have left, I want to ask you about why you think more people haven't done what you did in this race, which was to basically see the writing on the wall and try to consolidate your support behind somebody else who you thought could win. Vice President Pence just dropped out, but there are other candidates who are still out there kind of hanging on to hope at this moment. Quickly, why do you think more folks haven't followed the Will Hurd model in 2023?
Well, more people need to recognize and check their ego at the door and recognize this is about the country, and that we are at an inflection point, and we have a number of generational defining challenges that we have to address. And the only way to do that is to ensure we have a leader in the White House that could bring conservative thought. And that's why I thought it was important to get out when I did and get behind someone who has the momentum, who's a next generational leader, who understands a foreign policy, who has a record on domestic policy, to ensure, because she's the one that can beat Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Everybody's been talking about those New York polls, the New York Times poll. Guess what? The part that they're leaving out is Nikki Haley performed better against Joe Biden than Donald Trump did.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.